So we are live now. Please make me co-host.
I need you to make me host first. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Karen. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad. No complaints here.
Good.
Hey, Apple. Good to see
Hi.
you.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good morning. Hey, Helen. Yep. I'm here in San Jose, California, so it is still morning. It is still morning. So we have Ellen joining us. We have a couple more folks who are coming in. And I'm wondering, is anyone on a tablet or smartphone today? Are we on our laptops? Okay. Because we have some folks are using their tablets or their smartphones. So I always like to make sure I address them as well. Let me get my tablet out. There we go. Hi, Laura. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi there.
Good to see everyone. I'm just going to wait another minute or two. We'll have our other folks coming in. We also have John with us today. He's with our GetSetUp support team. Yay! John's going to help me out. We have cooler temps here in the Bay Area, although the air quality kind of comes and goes because we have some nasty fires happening in the Sierras. So it might be an indoor day. Okay, I am just going to go ahead and get us started. I know we'll have more folks coming in, but let me share my my screen with you. There's Jack. Oh, hi, Jacqueline. She sends greetings from Michigan. Oh, what a gorgeous virtual background she has there. Oh, that's lovely. So let me share my screen with you. Let's do it this way. And for those of you who haven't taken class with me before, I actually have two monitors. So I have certain things on one monitor, certain things on another monitor. So I tend to move my head back and forth. So I hope I don't make anyone dizzy, but welcome everyone. I'm Vicki, your GetSetUp guide. Just a little bit about me. I'm here in San Jose, California, right in the heart of Silicon Valley. Not sure if we have any other Californians on the call. If so, hello neighbors. Not surprisingly, living in Silicon Valley, I worked in the high-tech industry for 30 plus years. And I've done a number of different things. I've done technical support, lots of technical training, instructional design. I have been fortunate to have taught students from around the world. I've taught people who are very technical, but also I've taught lots of folks who maybe are more like yourselves and are just starting really to delve into this world of technology and try to figure out what it's all about. And being a guide with GetSetUp lets me do what I truly love, and that is educate folks about technology. So just a little bit about me. You know, we love it when folks have their cameras turned on, but I understand this is a personal choice. If your camera's not working or you're snacking or you're just not feeling comfortable being on camera, I leave this up to you. It's just more fun when we can see each other, but your call. We are recording today's class, and if you would like a copy of the recording, you can email us at help@getsetup.io and just let us know the name of the class as well as the date that you took the class. For those of you who are joining us via live stream today, welcome. You can see and hear everything that we're doing in class today, but I always recommend that folks register for the class because that way you can fully participate. If you're joining us via live stream, you won't be able to unmute yourself and ask questions or put questions into the chat. Also, I'll be sending after class notes to folks via an email. But again, if you're joining us via live stream, you won't get that email. So just something to think about. And lastly, GetSetUp is a training organization. As a guide, I'm not being paid to promote anything Google, Google Drive, anything like that. So it is all about the learning for us. And for those of you who think you might be interested in hosting or co-hosting a session, whether that's an interest group, a social hour, maybe there's something you're really passionate about and would love to share it with the community, go ahead and click on the Apply to Host a Session button. And just so you know, we have a number of our learners who have been stepping up to host and co-host lots of interest groups. So really exciting to see that. And don't forget, when you do receive that after class email from me, there's always that big orange give feedback button. And I love, I always encourage folks to use the feedback button. Let us know what else you would like to be seeing, having us put out there. That's how we make things better. We listen to you. And don't forget, when you do register for a class, you have the option to click on different buttons to share the link to the class with others, whether it's friend, family, colleague. We love it when you share the learning. Carol, you have a question here. You're having trouble putting Google Drive on Windows Explorer. So Carol, this might answer your question. I'm going to show you how you can access the Google Drive from Windows, from a Windows machine. You're going to be doing it via a browser. But if you do want to download the app, you can do that. But just hang on for a moment. I think I'm going to answer your question. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to start by discussing cloud storage, because that's really what Google Drive is all about. What is cloud storage? What are some of the basic concepts? Then we're going to switch gears, and actually I'm going to be demonstrating how you can use Google Drive. How do you navigate? What are some of the features, the most useful features that I think you'll be using, at least in the beginning? And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about how you can share files and folders with Google Drive, because that's a big feature. I'm just curious, has anyone been using Google Drive at all? Feel free to just raise a hand. Yeah, Carol, you've been using it. Feel free to just, echo anybody. Yeah, you've been using it. Okay, so it sounds like we've had, Nancy, a couple of folks who've maybe been dabbling it and just need to get more comfortable. I get in class to say, I just keep hearing about this Google Drive. I don't know what it is, how to get it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. First off, cloud storage. What is it? So when you are using cloud storage, what that allows you to do, is to take or to move some or all of your files from your PC. And when I talk about a PC, I'm talking about whether it's a laptop or desktop or a MacBook, anything that has a hard drive. So what you can do is move some or all of your files off of your hard drive, your personal PC, and move those up to the cloud. Well, what does it mean when you move something up to the cloud? What you're looking at in the middle of the screen, this image here, this is what's called a data center. And data centers are buildings. They're physical buildings that are designed to house many, many, many computers. And in a data center, what you'll see is there are multiple floors in this building, and each floor just has rows and rows and rows of computers, and they look exactly like this. I've been in many data centers. Not all of them look this pretty, but you'll get the idea. And so what you're seeing is just rows and rows and rows of computers after one after another. These computers in a data center, they're connected to the internet. So when we say you're storing your data in the cloud, what we literally mean is your data is being stored on the hard drive of one of these computers in a data center that is connected to the internet. Now, these computers are a little bit different from the personal computer you use at home. They typically are high speed. They're very powerful. They have lots of disk space. And so they are specifically set up to handle a lot of different applications, whether it be cloud storage. We have a class on the cloud that I highly recommend. And so when you're storing your data in the cloud, what you are truly doing is storing your data on a hard drive of one of these computers that is connected to the internet. And it's called a cloud computer. So hopefully you'll get a visual of that. Any questions so far about cloud computing? What do we mean by cloud storage? Okay, just stop and ask. And what you're looking at in the lower right-hand corner here of the slide, these are some of the more well-known cloud storage applications. So iCloud is Apple's cloud storage application. And when you're using an Apple device, you're typically storing files on Apple's iCloud. OneDrive is Microsoft's cloud storage application. So for example, I'm on a Windows laptop. I store some of my files in OneDrive, and that's Microsoft's cloud storage app. You may have heard of Dropbox. It's been around for many years as well, another cloud storage application. And then finally, here's Google Drive. Google Drive is Google's cloud storage application. And so that just gives you an idea of what cloud storage is, what some of these cloud storage apps are. You may have heard of them. And there are other cloud storage apps. These are just some of the more well-known ones. So what are some of the benefits of cloud storage? Well, we talked a little bit about being able to move some or all of your files up of your hard drive, freeing up some space. So that's one benefit. Another big benefit of using cloud storage is that files, folders that are up on the cloud, stored in the cloud, can be shared with others. And when they're shared, people can work on those files, whether they're documents, for example, with you. They can collaborate with you on files with folders that have been shared. So another big benefit of cloud storage, if that's something that's important to you. And then also there's this accessibility. So when your data, when your files are stored in the cloud, you can access those files from any device, because these days, we have a laptop or desktop. Some of us have phones. Some of us might also have tablets. We have all these devices now. And what this lets us do is when you're storing your data in the cloud using one of these cloud storage applications, you can access that data from any device at any time. As long as you have an internet connection, you're good to go. And also, when we talk about accessing your data, let's just say you created a document using your laptop, and then you stored that document in the cloud. Later that day, your laptop just goes south. It won't start anymore. It's gone. Well, that file, that document that you stored in the cloud, it's perfectly fine. And if you have another device you can always access that document as well. There's nothing that's happened to it. And so those are just some of the benefits of using cloud storage. And some people actually use it as a backup, like having another copy of data, which is perfectly acceptable as well. That's another use for it. It's not just storage, but also backing up your files.
So Vicki, I have a question.
Sure.
Maybe you're about to get to it right now. I'll wait.
About security?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a great question because I get it every time. So how do companies keep your data safe? Well, I can't look into the camera and say 100% of the time, never, ever, ever will anything ever happen to, files that are stored on the internet. Hackers are always going to find a way, but I will tell you that these companies that provide cloud storage, that run apps in the cloud, their reputation is on the line. Their business is on the line. If they can't keep your data safe, they don't have a business. So they have multiple layers of security that they work with. So they are constantly updating their security measures on their computers. And when you see the word servers, it's another name for a computer. It's just a very powerful computer. They use artificial intelligence and other tools to constantly monitor to see if there are any viruses that have been placed on any of their computers. Are there any vulnerabilities in their layers of security? They have something called firewalls. This is both hardware and software that are constantly monitoring. Are there any suspicious, activity? Are people trying to hack in? Do they not have passwords? Are they trying to put viruses on? There's also something called redundancy. So what they do is they make multiple copies of your data, because if something happens to one of their computers that is hooked up to the internet, it can, what we say, fail over to another computer that has the same data. And then also they hire third parties, other companies, to try to hack into their computers in their data centers to see if they can, do harm. And so there are lots of security measures, lots of different layers that go into keeping your data safe. And so, Ethel, I don't know if this answered your questions, but this is, from my research, this is what I found. And I always tell people, do your own research. If you're still a little hesitant, go on the internet, do a search for, keeping data secure on the cloud or security on the cloud, and see what you can find as well. So Lisa, did you have a question? I see your hand raised. You'll have
Yes,
to
I
unmute.
want to know. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yes, I wanted to know how do we go about storing our data on the cloud, or are you going to get to that soon?
I will. Yes, I definitely will. And by the way, for those of you who are using iCloud, we also have classes on using iCloud as well as Microsoft's OneDrive and Dropbox. So I highly recommend you take those classes as well. I'll show them to you at the end of class. So yeah, stay tuned. You're welcome. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit and now talk about Google Drive. So Google Drive is Google's cloud storage app. When you register for a free Google account, you get Google Drive. It's one of the apps that becomes available to you with your Google account. It's your own personal storage area in what we call the Google Cloud. Now, remember I showed you that image of the data center with rows and rows of computers. Those data centers, very often individual companies will own their own data centers. So Google has lots of data centers all around the country, all around the world. And your personal storage area is sitting on one of those computers in the cloud that's managed by Google. It's secure, it's managed specifically by Google. You have 15 gigabytes of free storage that comes with your Google Drive. So again, Google Drive is associated with your Google account, and it's available when you register for a Google account, a free Google account. So how do you access your Google Drive? I know Carol's been waiting for this one. It depends on your device. So today I'm working on a Windows laptop. So I'm going to be demonstrating Google Drive on my laptop through a web browser. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to open up a web browser. I'm going to go to the google.com website. I'm going to sign into my Google account. And then once I'm on my browser, there's something called a little waffle icon. It looks like a grid. When you click on that, then the set of Google apps becomes available to you. So I'll show you how to use your Google Drive from a web browser. Some of you may be on mobile devices. What you'll need to do is download the free Google Drive app from either the App Store, or if you're on an Android, the Play Store, and you'll be using Google Drive that way. Now, the menus just are accessed a little bit differently. And what I'm going to do with after class notes today, I'll be sending you a document that shows you how you can access the different menus in Google Drive when you're working on a mobile device, because they're just, you access them a little bit differently from the web browser. So let's just go ahead and get into this. I have my web browser open. And what I've done is I've gone to google.com on my web browser. I've logged into my Google account over here. And you'll notice that I have this little grid icon. Some people call it the waffle icon. Let me just make it a little bit larger. Whoops, this way and this way. You can see there's this little grid icon. So once you log on to your Google account, this becomes available to you. Again, I went to the google.com site, logged in. When I click on this little grid icon over here, it drops down a menu. It drops down a menu. And this menu is showing you all of the Google apps that are available to you when you log on to your Google account. And here is Google Drive. So when I click on my Google Drive icon in this menu, what it's doing is it's bringing up the Google Drive application. And if you're running this on Windows or a tablet, it will look something very similar to you. You won't have this on the left-hand side, this navigation panel actually will show up on the bottom of your mobile app. So it's just, things are laid out a little bit differently. So this is what Google Drive looks like. What you're seeing here in the middle, these are folders that I have created. These are my own personal folders. And because I'm working on a Windows laptop, I have my mouse. I can double click on a folder. These are different files that are in my finances folder. What's really nice is if I needed to go backwards a step, I can come up here. This is my finances folder. If I click on my drive, it actually just moves me back a screen. And so this is where my personal folders live on the left-hand side of my screen. And again, if you're working on a mobile device, you will see many of these on the bottom of your screen. There are some folders that have been generated for me. These are system folders. Where it says My Drive, that's your Google Drive. If I click on the little teeny minute arrow button there, it opens up, it expands my Google Drive. And these, again, these are my personal folders that I've created. Now, when you start working with any of the Google apps, whether it's Google Docs or Sheets or Google Slides, those kind of things, and you're creating documents, they are always stored in your Google Drive. And I wish I had known that years ago when I was starting to work with the Google apps, because I would create documents and spreadsheets using the different Google apps, and I had absolutely no idea where these were being stored. And when I found out about Google Drive, it's like, oh, that's where these are. And so this is what the Google Drive screen looks like. And again, I'm working from the web browser. So I just wanted to hop back over to my slide for a moment. And I put this in here, I call it Working with Folders 101, because some people who are really new to working online with these electronic folders and files, this helps people kind of get a visual. So think of your Google Drive as a good old filing cabinet. I still have a filing cabinet at home here. So when you open up your filing cabinet drawer, this is your Google filing cabinet. And then we all have worked with the manila folders here. This is when you open up a folder, this is the same thing as one of my personal folders that I was just showing you in my drive. So my drive is your filing cabinet. You open up the filing cabinet, and in your drawer, you have different folders. And when you open up one of these folders, typically you have, you might have invoices, letters, copies of documents. Well, that's what you're seeing here. When you open up a personal folder on Google Drive, you have different files. They may be spreadsheets. They may be, word processing documents. They may be photos, whatever it is. Hopefully that will give you kind of an idea, a visual. People tell me that it helps for them to understand, as they're navigating. So let's go back to Google Drive. And here I am. What type of files can you load? Can you move up to your Google Drive? And remember, these are all in the cloud. These are being saved on a computer that's in a data center somewhere, hooked up to the internet. When you start loading files to your Google Drive, they can be documents, they can be photos, videos, PDFs, they can be audio files. Basically, any file you can think of can be loaded onto your Google Drive. So what I wanted to do next was to show you how you can start creating folders, your own personal folders on your Google Drive, and then how you can start uploading files and folders from your hard drive to your Google Drive. And let me know if you have any questions. So because I'm working off of the web browser, this is the user interface. This is what it looks like. If I come over here on the left-hand side of my screen, there's a new button. And for anyone who's working on a mobile device, on the lower right-hand side of your screen, you see the plus sign. It doesn't say new, but it does have a plus sign. Same thing. If I click on this new button, there is a menu that drops down, and there are a number of different things that I can do. This folder over here, if I click on folder, it allows me to create a new folder. This is a personal folder. So today is Monday. Let's say I'm just going to call this Monday folder. Let's keep it simple. And then I'm going to click on the create button. And I've now created my Monday folder. So it shows up in the middle of my screen, but it also shows up here underneath my drive. So you always have two different ways of accessing your folder. So here's my Monday folder. Because I'm working with a mouse, I'm just going to double click on my Monday folder to open it. And it's empty. I've just created it. It has absolutely nothing in it. And so I want to show you how you can start uploading files rather, from your hard drive up to your Google Drive. And in this case, we're going to be moving files into the Monday folder that I just created. So easiest way to upload files, I'm coming back over to my left-hand side of my screen in that navigation panel, and I'm going to click on the new button again. I get that drop down menu. And this time you can see I have file upload and folder upload. If I click on file upload, because I'm on a Windows machine, what it's doing is it is bringing up my file explorer, and then I can select any folder anywhere on my hard drive on my laptop, and I can bring up one, I can select one or more files. I'm in just a testing folder. I just brought up anything. I'm going to click on open. And what's happening is I'm now uploading these two files. And I'm just going to click on the X button in this little dialog box here because they're completed. It shows you the uploads are complete. Lisa, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Could you just do that again? How did you bring the folder? You're bringing the folder over from Word?
So what I've done is I created this Monday folder. I just created it right now in Google Drive. I clicked on my new button and I clicked on file upload here. You can click on a folder, you can upload a folder or a file. When I clicked on file upload, because I'm on a Windows laptop that has a hard drive, it's bringing up an app called File Explorer because this is Windows. And what I can do is I can select from any folder. I can, even if it's just on my desktop, and I can, what I'm doing is selecting one or more files. I happen to have a Word document. I happen to have a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. These are files that are sitting on my hard drive. I selected them. I clicked on open. And what it's doing is it's uploading them from my computer hard drive to my Google Drive. Now, one thing that I'll notice, and Lisa, you bring up a good point. When you upload files to your Google Drive, so your Google Drive is made by Google. And I have some files that are on my laptop that are that I created using Microsoft Word. Some I created using Microsoft Excel. There may be other, I have some PDFs that I created using Adobe. When you upload them to Google Drive, they're going to be available to you as either a Google Doc file, a Google Sheet file, things like that. So they're going to be converted into an app that you can use in Google. So if it started as a Word document, when you upload it to your Google Drive, it will be converted to a Google Doc document. Ellen has a question. Can I upload the info from Google Keep? Yeah, I use Google Keep also. That's a good question. I might have to get to you in after class notes with that. Great question though. I know you can share anything you want in Google Keep with others. I don't know if we can bring it in. Let me check. Thanks. All right. Anybody have any questions about what I've done with uploading files? Yeah, Carol, question.
So when you upload and it becomes a Google document, when you download again, does it pop back into what it was originally?
Yes, it does. If you're on a Windows machine, it will convert it back to Word.
What if I'm using LibreOffice? Do you know how that works by chance? It's a .odt file.
Yeah, and I've had that question before.
Probably the same thing, right? You probably just convert.
I think so. I think it will. Yeah. Does it convert? And you can always try it. The other thing that I wanted to tell you was that when you were uploading files from your hard drive on your device to your Google Drive, uploading, what's really happening is we first make a copy of the file or the folder on your hard drive, and then we move that copy up to your Google Drive. So what's happening is you have a copy of the file or the folder on your Google Drive, and your original files are still sitting on your computer's hard drive. So if you truly wanted to delete them to make room for more, more data, you would need to take another step and actually delete those files from your hard drive. But when you do upload, we make a copy of the files or the folders that are on your hard drive, and we move the copy only up to your Google Drive. Lisa, question.
Yes, I wanted to know, when you are taking it off your hard drive, is that the C drive?
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
if you've saved it in the folder, the folder in Word under My Documents, you copy it, you make a copy from My Documents and put it in the C drive, and then from the C drive you upload it to the Google Drive. Is that right?
You don't even need to do that. Literally, when I go and I click on upload, file upload, it's making the copy for you. So I've navigated, I'm in my downloads folder. I just have a lot of junk here. I can select a file from this folder. I don't have to make any copies. I just select the file or files. I click open. And what Google Drive will do for you is it will make the copy and move the copy into, in this case, Monday folder.
But my question is, I saw you had it in downloads. We might have it under, let's say, documents.
Yes.
But we can just go from documents straight to Google Drive.
You can.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And if you are more comfortable clicking and dragging, so I've just brought up my File Explorer, and I have something in documents, who knows what this is. I can actually, if you're comfortable doing this, you can click and drag files into a folder if you're comfortable clicking and dragging. Not everybody is. So I'm just gonna sort of put that up there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a question from an old-time librarian. Actually, I was a librarian for companies, and our biggest problem was, if you have different kind of file systems, you have the books, you have all kind of things in these technical libraries, and our biggest problem was that they would forget one whole category or something and say we didn't have anything on that. We had C references, C also references, and now it looks as if not just here, but everything about computers, everybody's establishing their own files, and that looks like the old problem we had in libraries.
Interesting.
How do you? Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where, again, I'm just talking about personal use right now. This is where you as an individual can keep your own personal files. You certainly can work with groups of people, and I'm going to talk about how you can share your files. But again, it's like, your filing system is only good as you make it. And so this really, and you bring up a good point, Cynthia. It's, how can you set it up so that, people don't make duplicates of things, or they, they don't forget. And honestly, most people are going to be using their Google Drive for their own personal files and use. But we use Google Drive here at GetSetUp. And so I think because we're more experienced users, we tend, we've been told here are certain files, folders where you put certain files in. So, and there's also this searching capability. So you can start searching for files, whether it's a file name or something in a file, and you can't find it. Google has a very advanced search capability. So if you're looking for something in Google Drive and you're like, well, I think this is part of the name of the file that I'm looking for. Or you can use the search to say, I know that it has something about something in Utah, resorts, and and it'll find it for you. And so I
Okay.
may not have the perfect answer, but I can give you some suggestions.
Thank you. You did. Thank you.
Ethel, did you have a question?
I do. In reference to click and drag when you're using a Windows, the download or My Documents, once you click and drag that document from Windows into Google Drive, does the original document stay with Windows?
Yes, it does. Yep, it sure does. Because when you're clicking and dragging, and I'm just going to click and drag, do you see how it says the word copy? I don't know if you can you see that word copy to the right of my
Yes.
big fat pointer? It's making a copy. That's exactly what it's doing. And my original document is still right here.
Okay.
And so I like to show people two different ways. Not everybody is comfortable using the click and drag. Then don't do it. Don't use it that way. I just thought I'd show you a little gimme. Carol, yeah, question.
See, you know the screen you just had up, you just flicked off of?
This
It
one,
had on
Windows
the left.
Explorer.
Yeah, there I see Google Drive. I
Mhm.
just thought I saw it.
Yeah, you did.
And then you also
So-
have Dropbox. So now I
Yeah.
get all confused. Am I on my hard drive or? when I
Don't
see
be.
all
I
those-
didn't mean to confuse you. So I have something called file syncing turned on. And we talk about that at the end of class. And so because I use Dropbox, I use a number of different cloud storage apps. I've been using Dropbox for many, many, many years. It's been around, and I have my own personal files stored up on Dropbox. But because GetSetUp is a Google shop, if you will, all of my work documents are stored in Google Drive. And so that's why you'll see Google Drive. I have Dropbox. I use a couple of different cloud storage apps. You don't have to. You can just stay with one. Yeah, Carol.
Okay, really fast. That's what I want to know. When you see these guys, when you get to the end of your presentation, how do I
Yeah.
know if I'm clicking the hard drive one or like, the Google Docs one in the cloud? That's what I get.
Right. Okay. Okay. Sure. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Great questions, though. All right. And let me just get back to, I want to click on that new button one more time. Before I do that, I'm going to move out of my Monday folder. And I can do that if I wanted to get back to my drive. I can click on my drive here. I can click on my drive over here. And it will always move me back up to that first screen. If I wanted to upload an entire folder, I can click on the new button. I can select, instead of file upload, I'm going to select folder upload. And because I'm on a Windows machine, it's bringing up File Explorer. I'm in my downloads folder again. I just like to work there. Here's a test folder. It has a number of different files in there. I'm going to select this particular folder and I'm going to click on upload. When you upload a folder, Google will stop. Google Drive will stop you and say, you're uploading a folder and it could have a lot of files. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm going to click on upload. I have, I think, 2 files in here. It's like, or maybe there's 4, who knows? So, and it will show you what the status is as you're uploading this testing folder. And then when it's done, you'll see the little checkbox, green checkbox, and it'll say upload complete. I'm going to just close this little dialog message box. And here's my testing folder. If I double click on it right over here, I have a number of different files, different types of files that I've uploaded. And again, when you're uploading a folder, what we've done is we've made a copy of my testing folder and we've moved the copy up to my Google Drive. It's sitting on the internet. My original testing folder, it's still on my hard drive. I haven't deleted it yet. So this is now sitting up in the cloud under your Google Drive. So a few things I wanted to do, I just wanted to show you how we can use some basic features here. So I'm going to just on my sample spreadsheet again, I'm on a Windows machine working on a mouse. So if I right click on a file with my mouse, there is a menu that drops down with a number of different actions that I can perform on this file, on this sample spreadsheet file. Again, I right clicked on the file. I have a bunch of different options in a menu. Let me show you some of the more basic features, functions that I think are useful. I'm going to select make a copy because I want to make a copy of this file. And there it is. There's my copy of my sample spreadsheet. So easy to make a copy of a file. If I right click on this copy, brings up my menu. Let's say I want to rename a file. I can select rename. It brings up this little text box and I'll just say, Monday miscellaneous file. How exciting is that? I'm going to click OK. And I've now renamed this file. So we can copy a file. We can rename a file. I'm going to right click on my miscellaneous file, the one that I just renamed. There's something here called add to starred. If I select add to starred, you'll see that there's a little star over here right next to the file name. What that allows me to do is I really flag this file as a favorite, because if I have certain files that are really important to me, I want to be able to access them quickly. I use them every day. If you add to star, if you flag a file as starred, then when you come over here in the left-hand navigation panel, you'll see that one of these system generated files, folders is called starred. When I click on it, there's my Monday miscellaneous file. So it's a really nice way, it's a shortcut to be able to access certain files that are really important to you by starring them. And what you're doing here is what you're seeing in this starred folder, these are links to files. They're not actual copies of files. They're just links. So you can click on a file quickly and open it. And so that's what starring will do. And I can always right click on a file and I can remove it from starred. If I'm like, yeah, I don't really work on this file anymore. I don't want to clutter up my starred folder with it. Then I can always come back up to my, I think I was in my testing folder. And here it is, it's still here. And so again, right clicking allows you to bring up the menu where you can perform different actions. And by the way, let me just click on my drive to move myself back up to my main screen. If I right click on a folder, I get a very similar menu. There are a number of different things I can do with this folder. So right clicking on a file or a folder brings up that list. And let me just go to my testing folder. I want to show you how you can move files from one folder to another. So let's just say I want to move my Monday miscellaneous file. Let's move it to my Monday folder. That makes sense. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the file and I'm dragging it with my mouse. I'm highlighting that Monday folder. And then as soon as Monday folder is highlighted, I release my mouse. And what it does is it removes it from the testing folder. And if I come over here to the left-hand side on my navigation panel and I click on my Monday folder, there it is. So again, let me just do that one more time. I click on a file in a folder, and then I click and I drag it to whatever file, whatever folder I want to place it into. Once that folder is highlighted, I just release it, and then I can always come back, and there's that Monday miscellaneous file. And so this is how you can start clicking and dragging files to other folders. Let me know if you have any
Vicki.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, what does get link mean?
Sure. And I'm going to talk to you about that next, because we're going to go and talk about sharing. And that's one of the ways that you can share a file with someone. One other thing I wanted to show you is how you can delete a file. So if I right click on my Monday miscellaneous file and I click on remove, I am in my menu all the way at the bottom. If I click on remove, what it does is it deletes it from my testing folder. Now, if you're fast enough, you can always undo that action. But let's just say you realized at some point, oh, you know what? I really didn't mean to delete that file. I made a mistake. Not a problem. Any file or folder that you've deleted will be available for a limited time in this trash folder. So if you go over to the left-hand side on that navigation panel and you click on the trash folder, this is one of those system generated folders. Here's my Monday miscellaneous file. Now you just have to pay attention though. It says right up here, items in the trash are deleted forever after 30 days. So when you delete a file or a folder, you have up to 30 days to retrieve it or restore it. After that 30 days, it's gonzo. You cannot get it back. So the way that you can restore or retrieve a deleted file is you simply right click on that file. Remember, you'll open up your trash folder, right click on a file, and then there's the option to restore. If I click on restore, it's going to move it out of the trash. And then if I go back to my testing folder, it's back in my folder now. So again, I clicked on the trash. I right clicked on a file or a folder that I wanted to restore, and then I just click on restore. So that is working with the trash. And while we're here, we've talked about start, we've talked about the trash. I want to talk a little bit about storage. So remember, with your Google Drive, you get 15 gigabytes of free storage. Now, for those of you who work with Gmail, that 15 gigabytes counts towards any Gmail messages you have, as well as any files that you're saving in Google Drive. So just something to keep in mind. Now, how do you know when you're using Google Drive? How do you know that you're starting to get close to using up that 15 gigabytes? Well, over here at the bottom of your navigation panel, there's this storage section over here. And you'll see for me, I've used 12.4 megabytes of my 15 gigabytes. Now, I don't have a lot of files in my Google Drive. But as I start using more and more, what you're going to see is there's this gray bar that runs across the bottom of the screen here, the navigation panel. As you start to fill up your Google Drive, this gray bar will start to have blue color moving across it. So it's like another blue bar that's going to start filling up this gray bar. It will start to get filled up with blue color, and you'll be able to have a visual that will show you how much of the 15 gigabytes you've used and how much you have left over. So right now I have only a few files, but as I start uploading more and more files, this gray bar is going to get filled up with color. And you'll see when it starts to get close to the very end of your gray bar, you'll know that, oh, I'm starting to get close to using up my 15 gigabytes. So that is storage. And I'm going to click on the buy storage button because I want to show you how inexpensive it is to purchase additional storage on the cloud. Now, this is our free account. This is my free account that I'm currently, it's my current plan. If I needed to purchase additional online storage for my Google Drive, I can come here and for $2 a month, I get an additional 100 gigabytes of storage. For an additional $3 a month, I get 200 gigabytes of storage. And if you want to go large, for $10 a month, you can get up to 2 terabytes of storage. That's a lot. That's a lot of storage. So I just wanted to show you where you can buy additional storage and where you can see how much storage you've currently used up in your Google Drive. So it's always down here. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is sharing files, another big feature. So I'm going to come up to my Monday folder. Ethel, did you have a question? Yeah, before I moved on.
Before you move on. So if I wanted to make space in my 15 gigabytes, if I deleted files, that would create more space for me?
So not only will you delete files, but you may have to come over to the trash and empty the trash. Because remember, when you delete files, they're saved in your trash for up to 30 days. Even when they're in the trash, they're taking up space. So you may want to go to your trash folder and click on empty trash. That permanently deletes them and frees up space.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. So let's talk a little bit about sharing files and folders. Another great benefit of working in the cloud. So let's say I have another miscellaneous file here. It's a document. It's a Google Doc. If I right click on this file, in my menu where I can perform various actions, there is something called share. If I click on share, it brings up this next screen where I can start entering in different email addresses. I have a couple of people that I always email. Let's do, I think it's BO. I'm just going to go ahead and enter a few email addresses. Some of these are Gmail addresses, some of them are Hotmail, they may be Yahoo. It doesn't matter. So these are the 3 people that I'm sharing my file with. On the right-hand side where it says editor, if I click on that button, this is where I'm going to set up their permissions. Can they edit the file, which means can they make changes? Can they add content? Can they delete content? Can they simply just be a commenter, just add comments to the file? Or if you set them up as a viewer, then they can only view information. So once you set up their permissions, I'll keep them as editor. You can send out a message, hi all, please review and make edits. There you go. And then I'm going to click on send. And what's happened is I have now sent email messages to these 3 people. In that email message, they'll open it up. There'll be a link to the document. They can click on the link, open up my miscellaneous file document and start working on it. Now, when I share files in this way, I am assuming that the people I'm sharing them with, this file with, have a Google account. If they don't have a Google account, and this is Ellen, where you're going to use that get link. So if I click on get link, what it does is it allows me to copy a link to the document. Remember, this document is sitting on the internet. That's why you see this HTTPS. So what we're doing is we are copying the link to the document, and you may want to change it from restricted to anyone with the link. I can make them, again, a viewer, a commenter, an editor. And when I copy the link, I can then paste that link into an email and send it to people who don't have Google accounts. They'll receive the email, they'll be able to open and work on the document, even if they don't have a Google account. And so that's what the difference is between those two. Get link, copy link, excuse me, or share. So I know I'm going through this quickly. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I know Carol, you had
Thank
some
you.
questions, has to do with file syncing. And I'm just going to mention this to you. With file syncing, what you can do is actually have two copies of the files, if you will. Have a copy on your Google Drive, but also maintain a copy on your hard drive of your PC. And this way, when you've turned on file syncing, you can work off of a file directly on your PC. You don't even have to be in Google Drive. Make whatever changes you wish. And then those changes, excuse me, will automatically get synced up to your Google Drive. The same is true with the opposite. If you're working on a file directly from Google Drive, you've opened it up, you're working on this, Google Docs file, any changes that you make, those changes will get synced down to your PC, and you'll always be working off of the same version of the file. If you don't turn on file syncing, then you will continue to have two different versions of the file unless you delete certain files from your hard drive and just work off of files on your Google Drive. And so that's the difference. Now, to turn on file syncing, I'm just going to briefly talk about this. There's a gear up here, this little gear icon. When you click on it, you'll need to actually download Get Backup and Sync for Windows. If you're working on a Mac, it'll say Get Backup and Sync for Mac. And when you do that, it will download this backup and sync, and it will take you through some configurations where you can pick and choose which files on your hard drive you would like to sync up to your Google Drive. You may not want to select all the files. You may just want to select a few of them. So again, we just, we don't have time to go over that, but I wanted to mention it. And if this is something that's really important to you, say something in the give feedback. Let us know if you actually would like a class on this, because that's how we know that people are interested. Ethel, did you have a question? We need to unmute you. There she goes. She's going to unmute herself. Oh,
Okay.
There she goes.
Okay. So some Google documents I have received required me to get permission to open or to view. What's happening there, and how does that work?
There should be a little button that says, I have that sometimes too, that says request permission, and an email will be sent to the owner of the file, and they'll just share it with you. They'll give you permissions, share permission. So you'll just have to click on, grant, ask, request permission, and then, within a matter of minutes, you'll get permission for that. And Ethel, you actually bring up a really good point, and I forgot to mention this. Not only can you share files and folders with others from your Google Drive, you can also see any files and folders that have been shared with you. And that's what this shared with me folder is here on the left-hand navigation panel. When I click on shared with me, and these are a bunch of different files that I have to clean this up. If someone has shared a file with you, not only will you typically receive an email, but you can also come into your Google Drive, click on shared with me, and those shared files and folders will show up here. And you can open them and work with them that way as well. Because I have lots of people who say, you know, at work, these people keep saying, I shared the file with you. Go into your Google Drive and just get to it. And you're like, what are they talking about? And so if for some reason you can't find that original email that they sent to you, open up Google Drive, click on shared with me, and you will find those files and folders in here. So for some people, this is all they needed to know. And so that's sharing. I'm going to go ahead and do one last thing. I'm going to go to my GetSetUp, and I know I've gone over, sorry. On our GetSetUp website, we have an iCloud. We have iCloud Basics. We also have Photo Basics. There's Understanding the Cloud. So for those of you who want more information about iCloud, these are classes that you might want to look into. We also have, if you're a Microsoft user, we have a class on OneDrive, as well as you might be interested in Microsoft 365 overview. So I just wanted to show you that we have these additional classes here. And I'm going to stop my sharing. I wanted to thank you so much for joining me today. I know we went over a little bit. I want to thank John for all of his help. And, you know, just if you don't have a Google account, sign up for one. Download the Google Drive app if you're on a mobile device, or just open up a web browser, go to google.com, log on to your Google account, and just start playing with Google Drive. You can't hurt anything. Just, you know, just test it. You're not, you know, nobody else can see what you're doing. You're not affecting anyone else's files. So just start getting comfortable. You can take this class as many times as you wish. I love seeing people again and again, and just, you know, enjoy, relax. You've got this. And thanks so much for spending the hour with me. It was great to see everyone. And look for my after class notes, and just have a fabulous rest of your Monday. And I hope to see you in other classes. I teach a number of tech classes, so hopefully I will see you then. So thanks, everyone.
Great
Thank
class.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right. You